I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on Breeches and Sweats. In today's In the Ring post, I have Ellie Ferrigno, who's your 2019 USET final winner, 2020 New England final winner, your 2020 third place Washington International final, your first place Zone 4 McClay Regional, who is now competing at Auburn in their equestrian division. Welcome, Ellie.
Hey.
So you just finished school, right? You just finished finals?
Yeah, just last week.
Oh, I wish. How did that go?
It was good. I did my first semester online. You know, they wanted, the equestrian team wanted me to kind of finish everything for my junior career, and they didn't, it is still really big. So they just found that it was going to be too tricky for me to come back and forth, maybe exposing the team in like such unprecedented times.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took online classes, as I said, first semester. That was extremely difficult. I found myself like running back to we ended up staying in a camper during finals because, my dad's a doctor. We were really concerned about COVID, but literally have to plan my whole day around doing assignments and finals and everything. It was really tricky.
No, I'm doing it this year. I've done it the whole year. It's hard. People who have done it since before COVID, they deserve a prize.
Oh yeah. It's because in my mind I'm online school, it's going to be, easy for me to complete my assignments and ride, and I'm just going to have so much free time. And I was sitting around during finals, having panic, and there was everything was just crazy.
No, I couldn't imagine doing the level of riding you're doing, plus college, plus having to worry about everything else going on in the world. Oh my
Insane.
God. So speaking of college, what was your college recruitment process like?
It was pretty cool. The schools aren't allowed, and I mean, in the time I did it, they weren't allowed to reach out to athletes until their junior year, September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So the very first contact I ever had with a college, it was my freshman year of high school, and the one thing that they were allowed to do was send me a little questionnaire about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And you can send a video of yourself, and as a freshman in high school you feel pretty
so
cool,
special.
Look at this, I just got this questionnaire from the Auburn equestrian team, they're so amazing, I want to be a part of that. So as I went, I got interest from a bunch of schools, and as my junior year approached, I ended up hearing a lot and
obviously
from schools, which was really cool. And I went on visits, and when I ended up going to Auburn, it was the very first visit I had been on. And I was I don't know if it's just because it's the first one and it's really cool, but I'm pretty sure this is it. This is where I want to be. And I went on a few more visits, and I had a few more lined up, and I went on 2 more, and I was it's not the same. No. I knew it was special there, and I went back because I went during a football weekend. It was really exciting. I went back just on a Monday and Tuesday while there was nothing going on, to see if I still felt the same when there's nothing going on. And I just knew, I was this is where I want to be.
That's what I want. I'm beginning the college recruitment process, and so I'm how am I gonna know, or am I not gonna know, and how am I supposed to do all this? So it's a stressful time, and I'm sure all of my everyone in my age group is starting to get prepared for that, and it's just all the stress all of a sudden. So it's a lot.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a lot. It the being on the team, it was nice because the coaches everywhere were super welcoming, and everywhere I got a little piece of advice, and everyone was super helpful and forthcoming with whatever help I needed. My high school was also I went to a really small high school, and they were super helpful with everything for me too.
Well, that was my next question, was how did you balance school and riding while preparing for also college?
Yeah. So I went to the Worcester School in Danbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
You know, there were like less than 50 kids in my class. Teeny tiny school.
Oh my God.
When we looked in our area, like if I went to public school, I would have had to like unenroll in the winter if I wanted to go to Florida. Yeah. And I don't even know like if I unenrolled for that like whole semester, if I even would have like been within like the attendance like that you need to be to graduate, because I was missing so much school. But we finally we looked around and we talked to this school, Worcester, and they were comfortable with like how much I left. There were a few girls in the past who had gone there and like did what I did. I think I was the most extreme case of just not being in school a lot, but they were like, you stay on the honor roll and you can do it. You keep your grades up and you can do it. I'll do it.
I mean, how much did you miss school?
As I got older, it got more. Like my freshman year, I would go to Florida like 2 weeks at a time, come home a little, go back. By my senior year, the last day I ever went to high school was January 4th. Because then COVID happened and I never went back to school.
Now, did you work virtually? Did you just contact with teachers? Did you like Zoom with them, or did you have a tutor?
When I was younger, I used a like tutor center in Florida. And like, I don't know, once I got to my sophomore year, I was like, I can do this on my own. Yeah. I was really shy and I like barely asked for help from anyone anyways. I just like go there and do my work and
then be done.
I was like, whatever. I was really good about getting everything done. And the only thing I really ever had trouble with was math. And otherwise I that was tricky, but otherwise my subjects were pretty good. Like I really like reading. So it wasn't like I got behind on like reading a book. We had good teachers who didn't like assign us like Shakespeare to read.
Yeah, I got that this year.
Yeah. No,
I got stuck with it.
There were books I read like my junior year of high school that like I still think about and I'm like, wow, that was a good book.
Yeah, I just read The Great Gatsby.
And
I was like, this is a book that's gonna stick with me forever. But then I read like Macbeth and I was like, it's just not a book.
I had to do that sophomore year.
I just had to do it. And it's just, I was like, this is not a book that like I would read if I wasn't in school.
Yeah.
But no, it's very like some of the books I get, I'm like, okay, like Lord of the Flies, absolutely not. Yeah. I read that 4 times. Literally in all my schools from like 7th and 10th grade, I read it 4 times.
Did you stop reading it or did you just remember it or
I didn't remember like specific concepts. Yes, like specific things like this character and how it like the symbolism of them or whatever. But no, I did not remember the plot because I didn't like the book enough to keep it in my head. I was like, okay, but To Kill a Mockingbird, I read that in 6th grade, still remember it. But then how did you do like showing so much and then school? Did you have like the morning was showing, afternoon was school?
Yeah, it turned out like I was writing Tuesday through Sunday, and the beginning of the week, my goal was to like get everything I possibly could done and like get a little bit ahead. So when I got to like Thursday night before like in Florida, the Washington and the USET, I was all set because I didn't want to have to do homework on Friday or Thursday night before that. So I usually would be done around, Tuesday was a lighter day, so I'd be done around like 3. I'd go home, do like a really good amount of homework. I had a bunch of friends there too, and we'd kind of all band together a little bit and do our homework, which was productive or not.
Sometimes
productive, a lot of times not. No, but we were trying.
The trying is the great part.
Yes, I had a pretty good system that I got my work done, and like I'd get a bit behind. I like have to say, I'd come home from Florida and I'd be about like 3 like assignments behind a little bit, but like I'd like have a week, my first week home, and my school was understanding of like my situation and they'd like let me deal with it, so I'd like get back, have a stressful week, and then after that I'd be set and I'd have easy times because I was actually like going to school.
Yeah, no, Then you had like a little bit more of a structure.
Yeah,
You were like
exactly.
up to pace. Now, how many horses did you ride a day then?
It was crazy. I would count sometimes and I'd be like, I rode 10 today, or like it was wild. And like I would end up like on like a Wednesday, I'd like go from barn to barn, and I didn't get my license until like last summer when I was
Wow.
18, because I really never had time. I also failed the permit test once, which wasn't my proudest moment, but apparently it's more common than you think, because the permit test questions are very hard.
I took it like 6 months ago, and it was the hardest thing I've ever taken. Like, anything I'd taken in school was easier than the permit test. So don't.
But I rode a bicycle from barn to barn because no one trusted me on a dirt bike. I have a giant scar on one of my arms from falling off a dirt bike. I like skinned like my elbow and my hip, and it was a really like scary experience. So I rode a bicycle everywhere, and I put my saddle on the handlebars, and I have this like pink backpack that's like my thing that I like rode around with on my back that weighs 1,000,000 pounds, and I'd ride like 10 a day plus bicycle everywhere.
So a lot of exercise.
Yes.
Now, do you think that like prepared you most for college, or like what do you think prepared you most?
Oh yeah, like my whole growing up, you know, like at the beginning of my junior career, I didn't even have a horse that was mine. And then I got my really good equitation horse, FRH Remarkable. He was just, he was the be all end all of horses. He was the best.
He's beautiful.
And he did his own thing, but he was really the best.
Yeah.
But before I had him, even when I had him at the beginning, I didn't own him. And like it, you know, I'd have a horse for 6 months and I'd be like, wow, I just had that one for so long. Like it was just me constantly, you know, riding a new horse. And part of what I do is it doesn't matter what horse I get on. Like I find something about it that I can relate to something I've already ridden, you know?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, oh, I like that this one does this. I was taught really to always find the positives in like horses, and, you know, in like school programs and like with the collegiate riding, you never know what you're going to get, and they're donated horses. So it's good to always find like the best you can out of like horses that might not be the best every time.
Yeah, no, that's the best situation you could get.
Yeah.
And
speaking, just ride as many different horses as you can, because every horse is different, and just like being able to get on and like feel, you know, it's like, it's hard to explain. It just is like
I get it.
Of being like comfortable when you like get on a new one and everything. So
no, I get it. Now, with being on a riding team, what's the best part, do you think? Is it the riding? Is it the people? Is it the training? What is it?
So Auburn's program is just amazing, and there's so much support from your teammates, from your coaches, you know, from the other people who work with you, like team managers, like just we have a team of unbelievable people, and like my coach's motto is to be your sister's keeper. So all of the girls, like we always have each other's backs, you know, we're always even in any situation, like we're always pushing to make each other like better and do better and like do the right thing, and we're always there for each other. So I feel like it's just the group I'm surrounded with, like not only my teammates but the coaches, you know, we have such a bond, I feel like, as a group.
I feel like that's what everyone wants. Like I think that's amazing, and Auburn just sounds incredible. So kind of with college, because I know college also will kind of enforce this, what do you do to stay fit other than riding? Is it riding like your only thing?
So in college we ride. We also have workouts 3 days a week at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, well, that must be a nice wake-up call.
So I think workouts are really fun. I'm not gonna lie. I wish that it wasn't practically in the middle of the night. That's like my only like bit of like issue with it. But like once you're awake, you're awake. And honestly, like this whole semester I would go to workouts, and like it just would make you feel good about yourself, like getting up and doing something. And
no, whenever I start out my workouts, I start at like 6:30, 6:45ish, so I'm a little bit later than you, but whenever I start my workouts first thing, it makes me like just feel so
and it'd
good.
be fun after, like me and a lot of the freshmen would go and get breakfast at the wellness kitchen, which is like where all of the athletes eat, and it's like right across from where the like freshman dorms are, so it was always really fun.
That's perfect. And then after your workouts, what does a typical day look like?
You know, it was really a fun experience because it was the first time in my life I like actually had time to like do homework, ride, like have like attention to each thing. It wasn't like I had my attention split in like 20 different
with
directions.
Like 20 different people, like your teachers are one thing, then your like riding's your other thing.
You know, I'd have on like a busy day, it was like a Tuesday, you know, 5 a.m. workouts. I'd have class at some point between 8 a.m. and my last class usually ended at about 11. And we left our whole afternoons open for practice. So I'd have a little bit of time if I wanted to get some assignments done, if I just wanted to chill out. The earliest practice group practices at 1. Okay. So I could, you know, have some time, get over to the barn at noon because the horses all live in like big grass fields. Oh my God. So you have to like be able to give yourself time to catch them, clean them, tack them up, so you're really ready for practice.
That's like a horse's dream, to be outside the whole time.
The horses, like, you know, we get so many horses. We get so many horses that are just shut up.
Why do you bring them in and show them?
Being naughty, but
introduce the puppy.
This is Puff. This is my dog. He is the sweetest dog. He doesn't seem like it right now. He's being bad. But he's my baby. I think he's a Dachshund Chihuahua. We don't really know though. We just rescued him. And he's the sweetest baby. He's barking right now, but he's very sweet. Stop growling. We get a lot of horses that, you know, have been in tough situations. Maybe their brains are a little bit fried, and just being able to like, you know, live outside, like have a group of friends that they like live with.
That's like perfect.
Really, like even living outside, the horses are so happy, like really well taken care of. We have a good group at the barn that helps take care of them when like the girls are in class and stuff. But horses are happy, which like you never think about it. Our horses all live in stalls, and we think that's like the be all end all. And like I know my horses are like happy for the most part, but I like never realized like how great it was just having them, you know, turned out all the time.
No, my first barn ever, they had their horses turned out all the time. They were all in herds, but they in the summer would open up gates and let them up to like this huge hill, and it would take like 30 minutes to go out to get them, and most people would like take off, like put on their helmets, throw on the halters and ride them back. But like those horses were so happy. And our horses here, they get turned out. I feel like turnout is like what you need for your horses to even like no matter the time, they need to be outside a little bit.
Oh yeah, my good equitation horse, FRH Remarkable, he needed his turnout.
My horse does too.
I think everyone knows that horse could buck like no other. Like it was, he had a big buck in him, and it was pretty amplified if we didn't get our turnout. So I would like whenever he was home with us, I'd sit in the paddock with him and just hang out with him because he was like my like prized possession. Like he could not get injured, so I'd sit out there and watch him, and he was so happy like in the paddock. And like even when we were at horse shows, like Kentucky, Michigan, Val would call her friends and be like, who has a farm around here? We need to turn this horse out. And it didn't matter where we were, we'd like ship him over to a farm so he could get his turnout.
That's like, I mean, is he like, because that was my next question, is he the most influential horse in your career?
He is.
Why? Why is he so special?
I started riding him when I was 13 years old. Oh. And he came into the barn, and I remember I did my first Washington, and I made a mistake. I missed or something, and I got a crappy score. But I remember I called my mom, and after that Washington jumper phase, it was like week 5 of Florida, I think. And I was like, we need to buy this horse. I remember saying it to her, and like at the time we didn't have the money to do so, but I like knew I needed him. And a couple weeks later, I got an 87 in the Washington jumper phase on him. Like,
Whoa.
he was the coolest horse. And the woman who owned him at the time, you know, wanted to sell him. And I had qualified for my first, at that point, it was called the George Morris Equitation Championship. Yep. And it was the week of, and there was someone trying him, so I couldn't do him in that class. And then after that, I didn't have him for like the whole summer. And I was riding random horses. They were all green, you know, it didn't really matter like what I was riding. I just felt like a little bit like unhappy with the equitation.
Yeah.
And then I was about to tell Val I was like done. Like I was gonna just do the hunters and the jumpers. I did not want to do the equitation anymore because it was too much for me.
Yeah.
And Val was like, we're getting Remy back. And like it was literally then. And so at the beginning of that summer, I ended up breaking my back. So I was going to qualify for Washington, but I was 15 years old and I was going to qualify for Washington, but I hurt myself, so I couldn't show for about a month. And then I was riding all green horses, so I didn't really have like any way to qualify.
Yeah.
And I needed like 490 points. Or 470, I think it was. I have a weird memory, but like
I do too. I remember the strangest things.
Amount of points. And if I won the overall Washington at the Hampton Classic, I would qualify for the Washington finals, which Val and my mom didn't tell me that. They just said I needed like a good piece of it because they didn't want to put that much pressure on me.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a stall. We didn't have anything. We weren't entered. We got the horse entered. We live about 3 hours away from the Hampton Classic. So we're like, all right, we'll ship into the Hampton Classic. So we packed up at 3 a.m. in our 2-horse trailer.
Was this with Remarkable?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
3 a.m. We put him in our trailer. Me and my mom are driving to the Hampton Classic. I get there at like 6:15 in the morning, go and ride him in the ring. The Washington is at 8 a.m. So we get everything set up. The order comes out. I'm supposed to go like 8th. There are 50 something in the class. Like it's like stacked competition. Like I'm 15. I could get a good score, but it wasn't at that point like I was like, all right, I'm like the winner.
Like there were still people above you that you were like, I need like these are people that are gonna come out on top.
I walked into the ring after like everyone before me was terrible. We like had just gotten Remy back, so we didn't even have a running martingale that fit him. I was just riding him in a bridle, and he would always go in a straight white bit D. He never went in a Pelham or anything.
Gotcha.
And I walked into the ring and I got a 93 in the Washington jumper face at the Hampton Classic. And I couldn't even believe it. I walked out of the ring and they said the score. And there's like a little, like, I walked out of the in-gate and my mouth was just dropped open.
Oh my God, I can imagine.
Oh my God.
Now, was that your highest score ever? What was your ever highest score?
I got 295s at the New England finals, which that was a highlight reel.
That was like, those rounds were absolute perfection. I watched both of them. Like I was right there and I was like, and I heard your score and I was like, did she just get a 95?
I couldn't even believe it. Remember before the second round, I was standing there with my mom. Andre Dignelli was standing there and I was like, I think I could get a 100 in this round. And Val couldn't even come for the New England finals. You know, we were all like panicked. Me and my mom, like with our solo mission, my mom is an amazing trainer, but like we had always had our whole team there.
Yeah.
So like at the New England finals, like it was just our small team, and like it literally was so emotional. Like we were all crying. It was like it was insane.
They were like, "Yeah, you're not gonna test." I was like, "She's 7 points ahead." Like
I know. Well, they told me we did the math for what I had to get to not test. So I think it was something like I had to get like a 90 or something, and then we wouldn't have to test because it's within like 2 points that like judges can decide. And I remember we like were standing in the schooling area like doing the math with the calculator like when the second to last one was going.
Oh my God, It was an incredible round, my God. Well, that wraps up all my questions. My main questions. I have a little bit of rapid fire for you. So the first one is, what are 3 things you couldn't live without at the barn or at a show?
Draw reins, earplugs, closer.
It could be anything, any
Probably
product.
my pink backpack. That thing's been through it all.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve? And I'm a pretty easygoing person. Like, pet peeve of mine is like people like not being prepared like to show and everything. I take like my job pretty seriously, so I always like expect that from others. And like, you know, the people around me I always hope are prepared.
Gotcha. What is your all-time favorite movie? Or a TV show if you don't like movies?
I absolutely love the TV show New Girl. I think it's the funniest show. And I like watch it over and over again.
Everyone's favorite. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Sushi.
What's your favorite horse show you've been to?
Probably the Washington International Horse Show when it was in DC.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of that. Like people taking like photos at night. It's so cool.
It is the coolest horse show, and like that year I had to win the Washington overall. I ended up going to Washington my first time with Remy, and I was 10th at the Washington finals, which like it was my first ribbon at a final, so it was a super big deal for me.
Obviously. That's really cool. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. I know everyone will be very excited to see you're in the ring post. But thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, I love like talking about like my like good memories from my junior career.
Yeah.
Over my computer. I love talking about like my like fun memories from my junior career, so it was fun to relive it a little.
I'm glad. I got 1 year left, so
yeah.
I'm trying to make the most. Well, I guess in 1.5.
About your last junior year is like there's a lot of pressure on it. I felt like I had a little less pressure because with the whole COVID thing, like we had no idea what to expect. I was home for most of the summer. I had a really strange summer of like I didn't even go to that many shows. I just was at home like helping my mom, hanging out, and like I like was having so much fun at home. I like I didn't even like realize how much I loved riding. And like I got to junior hunter finals last summer, and like I was riding Remy and I walked into the ring and I had this like magical moment where like everything like came back to me.
Yeah. No, I had actually that exact same basically. Like when we took off I think 2 or 3 months with everything being shut down. Coming back and getting on, I was like, I did not know I missed riding this much.
Yeah, I was riding at home. I was developing young horses, and like Remy was away. He was in Florida because, you know, my horses that were in Val stayed there. And so like I like forgot a little bit, and like just walking into the ring at junior hunter finals, it was like everything that was like distant to me all of a sudden came back, and I like cantered around the course with a smile on my face, and it was just like the coolest moment.
That must have been so fun and so cool.
Yeah. It's like that's pretty much why like I owe everything to Remy, because there were like 2 of my like low points in my like riding where I like thought like that was it. I don't know if I want to do this.
And he comes like, back.
Both times it was him that like brought it back for me.
No, he just sounds so special.
Yeah.
It's nice when you have like that one horse. Like a lot of people I know like have had multiple horses. That one horse that like, you know, all your great memories are on him. It's just...
He's so special.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.